All righty then. Welcome back to another Cater Linked live stream event. I'm your host, Jason E. Brooks. You may recognize me from my columns that I write in FSR Magazine. That is in the Coaching Connection. You may recognize me from my workshops and keynotes that I've done across the country. And you can also recognize me here on Caterlinked, right at the coaching corner. Again, my name is Jason E. Brooks. And today we are focused on one of the most important and most overlooked elements of team performance. I'm talking about energy. Oh, yes, because peak season places extraordinary pressure on catering teams. Volumes increase, expectations rise, and the margin for error becomes razor thin. Under these conditions, leaders often focus exclusively on speed, accuracy, and execution. Unless you're keeping an eye on OSAT, then it's speed, accuracy, and taste. But sustainable performance doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from energy management. Speaking of energy management, I just took a palm full of almonds to get my energy up. But the ability to help your team stay focused, composed, and consistent, even when the workload intensifies, that's the importance of energy management. Let me go ahead and get the slideshow up for you. I know you like looking at my pretty mug, but let's get some stuff on the screen here. Now, today's session will provide a clear framework for coaching energy, not just effort. We'll explore practical ways to stabilize performance when your team is tired, stressed, or stretched thin. My goal is to equip you with tools you can apply immediately to finish the season strong. Now, let's begin with the fundamental question. Why does energy matter so much right now? Fatigue affects performance long before it affects movement. A tired team can still work quickly, but their thinking slows. And in catering, slow thinking leads to rushed decisions, missing items, inconsistent quality, and preventable mistakes. During peak season, the demand doesn't decrease, and neither do client expectations. When energy drops, the first thing to disappear are precision, communication, and emotional control. Energy is not a soft concept. It directly impacts execution, timing, professionalism, and the guest experience. If we want teams to be consistent during the busiest weeks of the year, we must help them protect their energy as deliberately as they protect their time. There are three primary reasons teams lose energy in peak season, and I refer to these collectively as the energy trap. First, overdrive. Teams move so fast for so long that they stop recognizing fatigue. They rely on adrenaline instead of discipline. The problem is, though, that overdrive, it's not sustainable. It eventually leads to errors, tension, and frustration. Second, overwhelm. High demand, unclear priorities, and rapid fire changes create cognitive overload. When everything feels urgent, nothing gets the focus it deserves. Overwhelm is not the result of too much work, it's the result of insufficient clarity. And you know, I'm very big on clarity. Third, overthinking. When pressure rises, confidence often declines. People hesitate, question themselves, and recheck tasks that they already completed. This slows the operation and drains mental energy at the exact moment when efficiency is most needed. The energy trap doesn't only exhaust teams, it destabilizes performance. And left unaddressed, it becomes the defining experience of the holiday season, the busiest point of the season. So, to coach energy effectively, leaders must shift the way that they guide their teams during high pressure periods. This framework I use consists of three specific shifts that stabilize performance and strengthen resilience. Shift number one, from tired to intentional. Fatigue causes teams to operate on instinct rather than purpose. If we were in the jungle, okay, but we're not. We're at the event. Coaching intention Coaching intentionality restores clarity, direction, and focus. Now, shift number two shifts one from stressed to structured. When emotion rises, performance becomes reactive. Structure brings predictability, reduces anxiety, and anchors the team to a steady rhythm. Shift number three, the last shift, from burnout to ownership. Burnout appears when individuals feel disconnected from the meaning behind their work, and we see it all of the time. Ownership, though, ownership re-engages pride, confidence, and personal investment in outcomes. These three shifts, they provide a leadership blueprint for sustaining energy when your operation is under the greatest strain. We can't stop the strain from being there, but we can provide to our teams that blueprint for sustaining their energy through these three shifts. Now, fatigue, it erodes clarity. I can't stand fatigue. No, really, I love fatigue. And you know why? Usually, fatigue at the gym tells me that I've done a great workout, but it also tells me that I haven't been keeping up with my paces prior to that workout. So it gives me two clear indications. One, I am tired. I've done something physical, but two, that I probably haven't been practicing enough in order to not feel that way in that moment. When teams are tired, they default to movement rather than purpose, and that's dangerous. They complete tasks, but they do not consistently execute standards. Coaching intentionality means creating focus before creating motion. That's important and that's safe. This is especially important in peak season. One of the most effective tools is what I call the micro huddle. You've heard me talk about huddles all of the time, or even micro coaching. But the micro huddle is a brief targeted alignment that answers three questions. What is our primary focus for the next segment of the shift? What is the first potential pressure point we will face? What standard must not slip regardless of volume? These short moments provide a mental framing that reduces wasted effort and prevents fatigue from turning into inconsistency. Intentionality. It's not about slowing down the pace. Intentionality sharpens attention so the team can move confidently and correctly even when the energy is low. Because stress is inevitable. And in peak season, it's not just inevitable, but the disorganization that can be caused from it is something that we can't have. So in this second shift from stressed to structured, the most effective way to neutralize stress is to increase structure. Yes, we love to rely on our gut instinct, on shooting from the hip. But whenever it is the busiest point of the year, the more structure, the better. It does provide less stress. Structure provides clarity first. It is predictable and it gives one a sense of control. Not everyone on our team is that wild hare that just likes to, like I said, shoot from the hip. A lot of them, when they get that stress, and you know who I'm talking about on your team, they feel like they're out of control. Things that would normally not go wrong do. So during high volume periods, visual systems become essential. Checklist, production boards, pack out maps, time anchors. All of these things reduce the cognitive load on your team. When people know exactly what to do, even if they've done it 1,000 times, that stress will make them forget that moment. All of these items help them keep what's in order, what should be on time in time, and that emotional stability improves. Coaching structure means reinforcing that systems are designed to protect the team, not restrict them. When leaders actively when they actively support the use of checklist and they show that even they use it and time markers, they reduce the stress of everyone around them. It composes a pace. In moments of pressure, structure is not optional. It is the actual stabilizer that keeps performance consistent. Now, burnout, shift number 3, from burnout to ownership. Burnout does not result from hard work alone. It results from hard work that feels disconnected from the purpose. I'm going to repeat that. Burnout is not just from hard work. It's from hard work that feels disconnected from a purpose. People can endure significant workload if they feel their contribution matters. Coaching ownership means helping team members reconnect to the meaning, the pride, and the personal investment of why they signed on in the first place. One of the most effective ways to cultivate ownership is through daily recognition of impact. A simple question, such as, what part of the day are you most proud of? That prompts reflection. It reinforces value. It reignites motivation. Ownership transforms the culture. When individuals take pride in their work, their energy becomes self sustaining. They move from compliance to contribution, from exhaustion to engagement. A team that feels ownership will outperform a team that is simply completing tasks, especially during peak season. Now, to illustrate how these shifts apply in practice, let me share a situation from a team that I coached during a high volume holiday period. This team, name no names, this is not the team that's in the picture, but they were overwhelmed. They were behind schedule. Tension was rising, and communication had become reactive. This leader recognized the signs of energy collapse and made a deliberate choice that instead of pushing harder, he paused the whole operation for 3 minutes. Felt like an eternity. He brought the team together and reset the whole environment. A quick micro huddle that reaffirmed what their priorities were in that moment, and only 3 priorities. He reinforced what the structure was, all of the all of the things that they could check around them to make sure that they were making the right next step. And he reminded everyone of their strength, not of the last mistake, not of the next possible one, but of all the things that they were great at. That brief pause, that restored composure and refocused the entire team. From that moment on, the team moved deliberately, not frantically. They regained control of the shift. They delivered on that event like it was easy peasy lemon squeezy. And they finished the day out stronger than what they began. That example demonstrates a critical principle. Coaching energy requires intentional interruption. I know that sounds strange, but intentional interruption. Sometimes the most effective leadership is not acceleration, but recalibration. So powerful. So I know we went through this a bit quickly for today, but as we transition into the Q&A, I want to first invite you to reflect on your own operation. And I want you to consider three questions. Ask these three questions to yourself. Where do you see energy draining the fastest? Is it during prep, during pack out, during delivery, or service? Identifying the point of fatigue is the first step towards strengthening it, but you have to identify it first. Second question. What's one energy giving habit your team could adopt immediately? It may be a brief pause right before service, a structured handoff, not thinking that they have it, but one that's structured, or a moment of recognition at the end of the shift. And third question to ask yourself, which of these three shifts, intentionality, structure, or ownership, which of these three shifts would have the greatest impact on your operation over the next 2.5 weeks? Your answers will help you determine where to focus your coaching effort as you approach the final stretch of this season. So I want to shift into Q&A. Let me change my screen here. Any questions out there right now? How can leaders recognize the early signs of energy depletion in their teams before it starts affecting performance? How can leaders recognize the early signs of energy depletion in their teams before it starts affecting performance? I think it's always with that 60-second mental check in as soon as they come in. If you're on site, you should be doing a mental check-in with your team as soon as they walk in, and you can read the body language. If you've been with your team long enough, which is a few weeks, maybe a few months, but if you've been with your team long enough, the body language is the first telling story. That mental check-in is going to be there, and the mental check-in isn't to say that they should be perfect walking in. We don't have open AI working for us yet, not in that manner. Whenever they are walking in, we should understand that they will be human and they will have things that are on their mind, and that's okay. Our goal as leaders is to help mentally check them into what the next 3 to 4 hours of success looks like. It's okay to give them time to drop that baggage, but we have to give that mental check in and help direct them towards what I like to call orientation. Orientation isn't just the first 2 weeks that someone comes on board or just the first day. Orientation is from where I am standing. What is the direction that I should be heading in to get to my goal? We have to orientate every single time someone walks in or someone checks in if they are offsite or you are offsite. That orientation of what success looks like for them within the next 3 to 4 hours, even if they've done it 3 to 400 times, is still needed. It lets them know that they are still they're still truly connected to a purpose. What's one small coaching what's one small coaching move a leader can make mid-event that helps restore focus and calm in a high stress moment? What's one small coaching move a leader can make mid-event that helps restore focus and calm in a high stress moment? One we already talked about, which is the pause. The pause that I witnessed myself definitely helps to realign when it feels like it's taking forever, but the real forever is mistake after mistake. A pause for 3 minutes helps to make the next 30 minutes feel like things are flowing so smoothly. But the next thing, small coaching move is to have everyone explain what their next move is. When everyone can explain what their next move is, whether it's a team of 5, a team of 15, a team of 2, we all think that the next person is going to do the next thing. Whenever we can hear the person standing beside us or across the room say what their next move is, now we understand what's going on around us and things we may need to pick up. So, a great small coaching move is to have everyone say what their next move is. It gives everyone a moment to calm, think through what the next step should be, and understand what everyone else is doing so that they move in unison to success. When teams are tired and stretched thin, how do you believe empathy? How do you balance empathy with accountability? When teams are tired and stretched thin, how do you balance empathy with accountability? The standard is the standard. I think that's Mike Tomlin said that best. The standard is the standard. We can have empathy all day long, but accountability, sometimes people define that word or that situation as the moment that things are about to go to the worst, and you then have to tell them what success looks like. Real accountability, real accountability is whenever we are constantly telling everyone what success looks like, whether they've been with us for a year or 15 years. That's holding them accountable to the standard of what the next thing should be. So even whenever they're tired and they're stretched thin, them hearing you describe what success looks like while you're balancing that empathy, that doesn't break them. That actually snaps them back into reality of what the next goal or step should be. Can you share an example of a time when a simple structure like a huddle or checklist transformed a chaotic service into a smooth one? Share an example of a time when a simple structure like a huddle or checklist transformed a chaotic service into a smooth one. Oh man, I am a 70s baby. My memory isn't that great, but I would love to say that the huddle works every single time. Now, first, let's define what a huddle is. Everyone pictures a huddle as they have to find 6 to 10 minutes to gather everyone up in order to have them all in the same place in a circle in order to talk about the next whatever. A huddle is can be the three people that are around you in that moment and taking 60 seconds in order to talk through what the next steps are, what the most biggest challenges may come up to be, and certain options that they have to overcome that challenge. Even when it comes down to a checklist structure, the checklist structure, for example, this may not sound chaotic, but every day that I am at home, nearly every day that I am at home, I cook dinner. Some people are like, yeah, yeah, right. No, I actually cook dinner. I I cook it from scratch, make sauces from scratch, you name it. It takes about 3 to almost 4 hours on a regular dinner. And when I do, I probably cook about 20 to 30 of the exact same things over the last 30 years. And I always use a prep list. You can call that my checklist. And on my and on my recipe guide slash prep, my checklist, it lists out everything that I need to get done. It drives my oldest kids crazy. They're like, you've made this 900 times in the last 30 years, like literally. Yet still, you're using your recipe slash prep list slash checklist to make this chicken piccata. It's pretty simple. But why do you always use it? And I'm like, because I know that the moment that I don't, I'm gonna forget something. And when I forget something, you're gonna know because you're gonna taste it and it's gonna be off. And you are gonna wonder why something's changed. And that's because I know for a fact I'm thinking about all kind of things. My next keynote, my next book, my next article, my next video, whatever, it's always on my mind. So having that checklist helps to transform or stop that chaotic part of dinner from happening of why did you change this dish? I didn't. I just forgot something and I did not use my checklist. Last question here. What's your go to strategy for helping team members reconnect with pride and purpose when they're just trying to get through the shift? That's a good one. What's your go to strategy for helping team members reconnect with pride and purpose when they're trying to get through the shift? Some people would say, to dig down deep into that individual in order to find out what makes them tick. And let's be honest, that's okay. That's an okay strategy. But one of the things that I know we care about most is how other people around us feel, even the hardest people that we hire, the hardest, most rigid people that we hire or have on our teams. They care. They care about how the person next to them feels, and they know what it feels like to be let down. They know what it feels like whenever someone walks off the shift. They know what it feels like whenever someone does a no call, no show, and that gut that they have for the next 4 to 5 hours is just terrible. And they know that they don't like whenever that feeling's there, so they want to make sure that pride and that purpose in what they're doing just for the person that's standing right beside them or working that event with them or helping to set things up or the pride that they put into make sure things are perfect for them. They also don't want to let them down in that delivery. Reconnecting with what they're doing for the people that's in the trenches with them definitely helps them get connected to stay through the shift and to get that feeling of, okay, I did it for the person that's right beside me. All righty. That was the last question. It is the end of the coaching corner, end of the year. Good stuff. Happy holidays to you. Next time I see you will be in 2026. Of course, this is live streamed, but you can catch the recordings at any time. And CaterLinked, aka Terry, does a wonderful job at taking these and shifting them into or repurposing them into great read along articles that if you don't have time to watch the whole video, you can catch a quick 3-minute read online and get all the tidbits you need to be the best coach standing in your team's corner. So have a wonderful holiday season and I'll see you soon. Thanks.